and one parent would work, at least for the growth years of the children. So how did they sort it out? She said, we sat down at the table and said, who hates your job more? And he said, I do. So he stayed home and she continued. And then eventually they'll make a plan to reverse it or transition it in some way. So the bottom line is everybody makes choices and has to define their, what is success for them and what is having it all for them.
But it sounds like the woman has to have a partner who is willing participant in this idea.
Well, we always say pick your partner well. Whatever your choices are, if you decide that you want to stay home and raise children, you have to pick your partner well, particularly if you're living out in this area. If you want to have a full-time career and travel, you need to pick your partner well. If you want to be an entrepreneur, right, you need to pick your partner as well. So I think that's just stated no matter what choice you have. Or people may choose not to have a partner at all and define success in a different way.
Right, right. So what advice would you give to women who want to re-enter the workforce after several years of absence?
Yes, I know, and there's been a lot of research on that as well. So, my encouragement for women, if you step out of the workforce, keep active in some way, right? Just keep your skills going. Even if it's, working on a website, volunteering your time in some capacity, because employers like to see that you have current skills and that you're aware, right, and doing things that are useful for the employment. So I wouldn't drop everything. And I think a lot of women and men realize that you need to be actively engaged. I think you have to keep up your networks. I think that's very important. At the end of the day, recruiters will tell you that 75 to 85% of the time the job is found through who you know. So being able to do that. I think part-time and volunteerism is very important, even if it's once a week. I had a gentleman who was out of the workforce for quite some time, but he volunteered as IT, information technology, and he volunteered one day a week in a hospital. And eventually he was transitioned in. Why? Because it was on site, he knew the systems, and he was top of mind for when the job opening happened. So I think there are ways. You can always move into also, if you're more seasoned, consulting roles, advising small firms, mentoring, and a lot of those, nonprofit firms. So there are choices for people who have been in and out of the workforce.
That's very good advice because a lot of women are facing that situation right now.
Absolutely, and I think one, just keep current, and if women can just remember that, to keep active in doing something so that your resume, so to speak, doesn't have the big gap, but has some sort of continuing your skill sets.
And what is different today for women and careers than in the past?
I grew up in a classical world. The high school degree and the liberal arts degree pretty much got you anything in every job. And a large company was the choice, right? You went to a large company, they took over your training, and they took over your employment pretty much. Today it's different. We live in a technology-based world. The velocity of job change is much higher, but there's many more choices. So the big thing that I really encourage younger people today is look at all the options you have today. You can work for a large firm. You can work for a medium-sized firm, a small firm, entrepreneur, self-employment, portfolio careers, which is a number of different kinds of jobs and gigs or freelance work. There's so many more choices today, but what you need to do is go investigate it, right? And understand what options are out there for you, right? For me, doctor, lawyer, public sector, teacher, right? The choices were just so limited. Today, the world is your oyster.
What is the best way to investigate the different possibilities?
So fortunately, in today's environment, because of technology, so much more is out there. Right? So I would go, I have a lot of students say to me, I want to work at Facebook, I want to work at Google or Apple. Go to the website. These companies give so much quality information in form of interview advice, videos, chat rooms, that you can actually learn a lot about the company right there. Number two, we have social media. Network through your Facebook, your LinkedIn, huge fan of LinkedIn, and find people who work in the company and talk to them. Ask them before you go to college, while you're in high school, what do you do at the company? What courses did you take? How did you get in? What experience do I need? Prepare yourself. And I think we just need to be, because there are so many more choices, we really need to start preparing at a much younger age so that we can maximize and really pick something that's interesting for us.
Very good advice, Tracy. Well, thank you again for being with us. It's always so informative when you come to visit us.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being with us today. Please remember to also watch our programs on YouTube. See you again next week on The Better Part. Bye-bye.